This episode is brought to you by Buffy. You can check out their latest product, The Breeze, a comforter made entirely from 100% eucalyptus fiber to regulate temperature, keep you cool and comfortable all night long. For $20 off your Buffy comforter, visit buffy.co into the code MOOD.
Ooh, speaking of mood, welcome back to Big Mood.
to Big Mood.
We are here. All of us are here.
Yep.
We got the whole gang. Sometimes some of us are missing, but do you want to go down the line for those people that don't see the video? They're just listening on audio. This is Nikki.
This is Jess.
This is your boy Bose.
This is Tiff.
This is Gina. Totally normal.
Gina is so normal. For those of you not watching the video, she's not a creeper at all. She's very, very normal.
I'm enjoying it. I'm not complaining. I like this. This is soothing.
Gina the molester.
You like being stroked?
I sure do.
Jesus. Wait, this is not a sex episode.
Yeah.
This
This
is
is
not
the opposite of a sex episode.
This is not a sex episode.
We're talking about our daddies, right?
Yeah,
Cover
but
up, Jess.
your biological fathers.
Oh,
yes,
I don't wanna be
not
here.
your
The fuck?
daddies.
No, not your daddies.
The wrong memo.
Yeah, Gina. Your picture your papa.
Oh,
Papa.
innocence.
Yeah, put your boobs away.
Purity, innocence. Imagine your father in a photo frame in a hallway, and what do you think about him?
I actually have a picture of my dad framed in my bedroom.
How
It
cute.
sits right next to my door.
Your dad watches you fuck. That's weird.
Whoa.
Just kidding.
Kind of is.
You need to move that photo out of your bedroom.
I flip it.
Yeah,
the walk
down. Don't look, daddy. Don't look, daddy. Don't
Or
look,
he has
daddy.
his own like little blindfold.
And then your boyfriend's like, don't look at what? Yeah, so recently everybody knows that R.I.P. Kobe Bryant. We lost a good one. But after his passing, it came out that he had a lot of stories of being a proud girl dad. And so people that had exchanges with Kobe were recalling their memories of just how proud he was to be a girl dad and how he just wanted more and more and more girls. And I guess that took a lot of people by surprise because most dads, especially if you're an athlete, they tend to want boys and they want like to raise their athlete boys. And so it was just really cool that Kobe really loved having daughters.
Yeah, he had four daughters.
Yeah.
And he wanted like 10
5 more.
Yeah. So
He was like, you're all going into the WNBA. You're all going to be like me. You're all going to kill it.
No, that was
Everyone's
the
playing
cool thing
sports."
about him, though. He didn't even trip about like pushing basketball on any of his daughters. That's why when Gigi really loved it, it was like, oh, yay, I get to pass on like the basketball knowledge to one of my daughters.
yeah.
It was just really sweet.
And so I guess that just reminded us of like our relationships with our own fathers because we all obviously have girl dads and how different it was like amongst all of us. So yeah, Gina was talking a little bit about how she has a picture of her dad in her bedroom. I don't think I have a picture of my dad at all in my house.
Yeah, some of us have very, very different relationships with our fathers, but we'll get there.
yeah.
No, I'm like the quintessential daddy's girl.
Yeah.
And I always will be. I'll be like 60 years old and I'll be like, Daddy, can I have cookie?
You have an accent.
Daddy can have cookie.
He like doesn't know you have an American accent at all.
What? So the funny thing about my dad, so the reason why we're so close is because I never grew up with him. I've never lived with my dad. The most time I've spent with him consecutively was probably like 6 months. And then he had to move away to another state. So being away from him made me, like in my 20s, when I started making more money and like I can fly and go see my dad, and like when you're not like a shithead little kid anymore, I'm like, oh man, I miss my dad. I want a relationship with him. So it was always like, hey, how are you? But then now, when I started making money, I'm like, okay, Dad, I'm gonna come visit you. So now I spend Christmas with him, Father's Day, my birthday with him, and then his birthday too. And then so the fact that I'm so like far away from him all the time makes me more like hyper aware of like, all right, I need to spend more time. And I have this rule that if my dad ever crosses my mind, or even just a dad comes up in conversation, I have to message him right away and tell him I love him.
Why are you not on your phone?
I know, because it's unprofessional, because I really want to do it right now.
Aw.
So like
Cute.
so like we don't like message all day back and forth, but if you look at our messages, it's like, hey, I love you too. Hey, I love you too. It's really cute. And
then like constant reminders.
Yeah, and then sometimes he'll do it first, and I'm like, oh, Dad, thanks. And we type in Vietnamese. It's really cute.
Aww.
Dude, you even have a tattoo, like a matching tattoo with your dad.
Yeah, that David ruined, you little mark ass bitch. I fucking hate you so much.
What?
So a few years ago, I flew my dad in, and my dad's a huge Niners fan, Nikki. Who's going to the Super Bowl, by the way.
I hope they lose now. And by the time this episode comes out, people will know. They'll know. They'll know.
At least we made it.
Oh, do not start fighting right now.
Super Bowl loser.
Not over the sports ball.
Sports ball.
Go Chiefs.
Which is funny because half my family is the Chiefs fans.
Good.
So we're not having a Super Bowl party for the sake of the family.
No.
Well, everyone could just wear red and nobody would know which one's which.
So a few years ago, I flew my dad into San Francisco with me, and I got Colin Kaepernick's tattoo artist to do our matching tattoos. So in Vietnamese, I have father in the back of my neck, and my dad has child in his arm.
Aww.
So father is ba, and child is con, C-O-N. And then I posted a picture, and David's like, does that say bacon?
Oh no.
I was like, you little bitch, I fucking... and then everyone afterwards like, bacon! I'm like, you guys. So we got matching tattoos, and then I have like a tattoo on my side also. It's a song lyric to a song that he used to sing to me when I was a kid, and it's in his handwriting. He has amazing calligraphy, and it's in red, his favorite color. That shit hurt.
That shit hurted.
That shit hurt.
That is so sweet.
I'm a huge daddy's
I
girl.
wonder if it is because, like, you didn't get to see each other a lot during childhood and stuff, because I feel like I have such a better relationship with my dad now after not living with him.
Yeah.
Because when we lived together, it was like war. We are too much alike, and everyone would always be like, you're just like your dad, which pissed me off more because I thought he was insane. And we would always butt heads, and because he, paid all the bills and he's the elder and, he'd always...
Patriarch.
I wasn't allowed to argue or, like, say my piece. And, I need to say my piece. If I have something to say, I'm pretty outspoken. So is he. But because I was the child, it was always like, don't talk back, shut up, don't say anything. And then if I cried because out of frustration because I couldn't say anything, he'd be like, no crying. And then he'd yell at me for crying. And then it was just like, I just hated living with him. And we went like a whole year in my teenage years without even talking. Like we just pass each other in the kitchen and like not talk. But then when I moved out, I was 21 when I moved out, I feel like his soft side came out. Like, I finally got to see, like, what my mom had been talking about all those years, because I was always like, what soft side is she talking about? She'd be like, he's such a baby in the inside, and he loves you so much, and he brags about you to his work friends, and, like, in his office, he had a bunch of pictures of me, like, at work, but I'm not in his work. Like, I never see those pictures. He never tells me those things, but, like, when I moved out of the house, he started telling me those things more, and I remember always feeling not good enough for him and feeling like, he was never proud of me because he has a really high standard. And so therefore I had a really high standard because I felt like I could never meet this impossible standard. But then when I was 26, so 5 years out of the house, we were in New York for a premiere of something that I was in. And he, right before going on like the red carpet, he was like, I'm really proud of you. And I was like, that's the first time you're going to say it. Right before I go on a carpet. And I had planned that moment in my head so many times. Like, if he ever said it to me, like actually said it out loud, like I would just start bawling. I would hug him and be like, I've been wanting you to say that. But because it was right before the motherfucking red carpet, I had to be like, what'd you say? And he goes, what'd you say? He goes, I know you don't need to hear it. Your brother needs to hear it all the time, and that's why I tell him that all the time.
True.
But you're like me, and we don't need people to tell us that. We just like to get our shit done and go. And I'm
That's
like,
not true.
I really needed to hear that.
That's cute though, because he felt like you were so much like him and so kind of close to him that he didn't have to. So it's still kind of sweet, even though you needed it.
Communication would have been really key.
Like, y'all could be very similar, but at the end of the day, like, we are women. We need a little we need a little pat on the back every now and
Yeah. And also just like if you had that conversation with me in childhood, like, hey, you don't need to be told this, then at least I would know intention.
Exactly.
But growing up, I was just like, I'm not good enough. My brother always gets told he makes everyone proud.
But it turns out it's because your little brother's a bitch.
Yeah.
Yeah, you're a bitch, Dane. I'm the motherfucking favorite.
It's funny because I'm the only girl. So he remarried, I don't know how many times because my dad's a pimp. You guys know what he looks like. But
your dad is kind of fine.
Can we flash a photo of Gina's dad?
My dad's, they call him the when he was younger, they call him the Asian Johnny Depp.
Oh, shit.
That jawline was fucking wild, dude. Yeah. So, but he's found the one now. Hi, Mom. So I'm the only girl and I'm the eldest one too. So it's really interesting because like my little brothers are soft. So like when I see them, I'm like, what the hell is this, you know? And it's because the weird thing is it's because they grew up with my dad. And since my dad couldn't raise me, he's like extra nice to them.
Aww.
So they grew up to be really soft. And then I'm just like, what is going on here? And I was talking to my friend about it. I'm like, dude, like I'm
a stone cold bitch.
Yeah, like I'm more of a man than these guys
You're
are.
like, I got brass knuckles in my purse.
Yeah, exactly. Like I'm more of a man than these guys are. And then my friend's like, well, to be honest, Gina, you're more of a man than a lot of guys are. I'm like, all right, you're right, yeah. But it's so cute because my dad has a soft side too.
Yeah.
I remember he came to visit with my mom and my stepmom, and he was like, yeah, your mom made me get this stupid cat. You know I hate cats. It's a stupid fucking thing at home. And then before bed, I walked by the room and I hear my dad whispering, do you think the cat's okay at home by himself? I was like, oh, you're so cute. You love that cat. He has a huge soft side too.
Aww.
Yeah.
It's adorable.
That's so cute.
I feel like we're going in order of like who loves their dad the most. So I'm gonna go last.
I'm in the middle. I'm pretty much.
I think we're going in that order
because you love.
My relationship with my dad is really good too, really strong. My dad is my number one, my best friend for life. I hope he's watching this.
I think my
Sup,
favorite
Dad?
story
Sup,
of your
Daddy?
dad is your Thanksgiving dinners.
Thanksgiving dinners?
Or like he makes like doesn't he make like a little Thanksgiving
Oh yeah, like
dinner for you?
I mean he always, so my dad always shows love through food.
Mm-hmm.
That's the way he likes to do it the most. But so my relationship with my dad I think is so good because I actually didn't grow up with him. My parents were divorced from the time I was a little kid, probably when I was like 1 or 2 years old or something. Before I remember, so they were always divorced, and I always lived with my mom. But as my mom kind of lost her shit, she lost she got off her rocker like when I was a child. My dad actually basically rescued me. So I never got to see him until like probably middle school-ish. I mean, there was some time when I was a baby where I still got to see him, but then my mom took me and my brother to Ohio, ran away from everything in her whole life, hid from my dad. My dad couldn't find us. So there was many, many years where I was not in my dad's life, and that really sucked a lot. But then when he finally found us and he rescued me from my mom, who was on drugs, it was like...
how he found you.
I think he was using a private investigator, but then also he got in...
That's dedication.
He got in touch...
He was like, I'm gonna find this baby.
Why is your dad Obama?
That's just my generalized dad voice.
I'm gonna find that baby. I'm gonna bring him home. Bring that baby home.
Jessica Caldwell.
Name is Jessica. She's brunette. She's beautiful. Blue eyes. Looks like me. I'm gonna find that baby.
That's my daughter.
Yeah, his sisters and my mom's sisters kind of got together too because they realized my mom was on drugs. So, but yeah, my dad's always been like a very stern, kind of quiet, doesn't really talk. He's not like... I don't know, in the family, he's always kind of like off to the side. Like he'll kind of cook food for everyone and then kind of just sit off to the side. But he shows his love through cooking and stuff like that. But then he, like as I was growing up, when he finally rescued me and I got to come live with him, he would do the cutest little things. Like he would never be super emotional, but he would do things and it would hit me emotionally. Like, so he would buy me a pool, even though like he didn't have a lot of money, but he would buy me like one of those little pools for the yard or whatever.
inflatable
I was thinking a whole
Yeah.
big old concrete pool. I was like, so he would buy me a pool when he felt bad. That's great.
So I would get to play in the yard, like in the water and stuff, and he would kind of just be sitting up on the porch, kind of like drinking a beer, smoking a cigarette, just kind of watching me. And it's just like he wanted, I think he really wanted to show his love for me, but he didn't quite know how. But he did everything he could for me, spoiled me a lot. And then now as an adult, I feel like we're just super close. Like we have this weird connection where it's like we both went through a lot, and he knows that he saved me from a really bad situation, and we just have this bond that's like so strong. It's hard to even describe it. It's like no matter what happens, like we've always had this really
Like, he's your rock.
deep connection.
I really like even that little memory that you're saying of like you just splashing around in the pool and he's on the porch just smoking a cigarette and having a beer. It's like if it
Being
just,
Obama.
Yeah, like the way that you described it though, it feels like he was so grateful for that moment, which I really like. Some parents aren't. They're just like
True.
get on out there, put them floaties on, and don't you die. I'll be back in an hour.
Yeah, no, he was never. I never got that feeling from him. Like, oh, just go play.
Yeah.
like I never got that feeling.
It was
from
like
him.
he was so happy that you were there that even just watching you have fun meant a lot to him.
Yeah.
So I get that's nice.
That's
real
so
nice.
sweet.
sweetie.
That is super
I
sweet.
think it's really cute when dads don't really like say or show emotion, but they do it in their own way.
Oh yeah, there's so many ways that I could see. Like I'm like, oh, you love me.
Yeah,
Aw.
I feel like I only see it now looking back, you know, because as I've been apart from him for this long now, I'm like, fuck, I am like him. Damn it. Like where I'm just like the way I show love is by helping like people get better at stuff. And I'm like, damn it, this is what I hated about him. I hated that he he was like just always like, no, you got to do this. No, you're doing it wrong. Like it's like this, and he would always be correcting, but he just really wanted us to like do better and be like become better. And he was a baseball player, and he was on like 3 different teams. And because I was the firstborn child and I was unplanned, I think that he was like, well, she's going to play baseball then. And so I was really tomboyish when I was younger, and I just like really wanted to be a baseball player, and I was a pitcher, and he would always just like, we'd just throw the ball and he would like correct me on form forever. And like looking back, I'm like, oh, that was like how he bonded, because it was like he wanted me to be a good athlete, and he wasn't being like, oh, she's a girl, so I'll take it easy on her.
Yeah.
He was like, no, you got to like put this foot forward, and then you got to put your weight into this foot, and you got to shoot straight, and you got to put your shoulders like this. And it was just very like strict, but it was his way of being like, she's gonna be the best.
You know, it's interesting. For my dad, he actually was the opposite. He made sure every time we saw each other, he told me how much he loves me. He would hug me and kiss me. Like he would verbally like tell me, but in the moments when it really mattered and it was like he needed to be there for me or whatever, he wasn't. Like he actually didn't show his love through actions. It was always through words. And that's why for me, like I had a mixed relationship with my dad, because, you know, when like my parents got divorced when I was 7, so from my childhood up until 7, that's when we lived together. But he was an abusive guy. Like he put my mom through a lot. Like he was an alcoholic. Like, you know, he even got like cirrhosis of the liver when he was older, because like that's how much he drank. And he would, apparently from what I hear from stories of the family and my mom would tell me, and even from his own mouth, like he would beat my mom when I was a child too.
Yeah.
Like
Did you witness any of that, or was it kind of like you just knew about it?
I don't ever remember
Yeah.
seeing it. I do remember him getting upset, and I do remember my mom crying a lot, and I remember being left alone a lot because my mom had to go out and work, and my dad was never home. Like he'd end up having like his drinking binges and like spend days at a motel and like not even come home. So he like, now as an adult, I could see who my dad was, and I could judge him and be like, he was a shitty person. He really was. But then I can also like look a little deeper and actually see his childhood and where he came from and what he's been through, and I sympathize like a lot. And I'm like, no wonder he ended up where he did, because he didn't really have much guidance and he didn't have a lot of love himself. So I understand why he did those things. But growing up, I never saw any of that. I was so blinded to it, and because I always saw my dad, and he would always make me feel so fucking loved through his words, because, you know, as a child, you don't actually like register the fact that there are no actions.
Yeah.
Like the fact that he would leave me after school for hours when he would say he would come pick me up. Oh, I'm getting emotional.
Oh,
Aww.
shit.
But obviously I have things to work through. But I think because like things like that, I end up having like abandonment issues, because like I don't know how to process things like that yet. Like I'm still working on it. But anyway, so that's why I really loved my dad, because of the verbal stuff, right? But then after they split up and he was gone, because of the fact that my mom went through so much, she kind of like had like restraining orders against my dad, so I couldn't really see him Fuck, I'm sorry, guys.
Damn, that's fucked up. This kind of reminds me of my relationship with my mom. It's like the same thing as with your dad, because my mom would always be telling me how much she loved me, but then she was always gone, leaving me with babysitters. She was always getting drunk, getting high. Like she was always, so I totally understand like that feeling that you have. Like, and I tried to fight for my mom's attention and everything, and I knew she loved me. She would always be saying it, singing songs to me when she was there, but it was always like just an instant. She was there and then she was gone.
Yeah.
And it was like she would love bomb me and then she would just be gone and
Same.
drinking and all of that. So
Yeah.
it's like, I understand that.
Yeah, girl. So, yeah. So, because of that, up until, like, my dad would tell me, too, like, he would somehow find a way to communicate with me through an uncle or something, and he would tell me, like, I want to see you, I can't see you, your mom is preventing, like, they really used me as a weapon to hurt each other during their divorce.
Ew.
Yeah, it was disgusting.
I hate that for you.
That's why.
I hate that for baby Tiff and adult Tiff. In fact, teenage Tiff as well. And old Tiff.
Future old Tiff.
We don't know her yet, but fuck that
I
shit.
know. I hate that for her.
Thanks, girl. I mean, I'm working through it. Obviously, like, there's a lot more to work to do, but I think I've been okay with a lot of it. But anyway, so because of that, I resented my mom a lot growing up because I'm like, I fucking love my dad. Why can't I see my dad? It's your fault I can't see my dad. And she would just tell me, like, obviously she's hurt. I understand why she would do this, but she would just badmouth my dad a lot. And so that just made me resent her even more because I'm like, why? Like, let me make that decision for myself. Like, let me see who my dad is on my own. So it ended up getting to the point where when I was 15, my mom and I's relationship, it was like, shit. It was so bad that we would fight all the time. So it got to the point where she was like, you know what? Just go to Mexico and live with your, because my dad was in Mexico. That's the reason why I wouldn't see him that much. But
You were born there.
I was.
Oh my God, Gina.
She's barely
Never
been
let
to
it go.
America. Like basically like 1 year in America, all years in Mexico.
Exactly. But yeah, so then that's why I ended up spending that 1 year in Mexico when I was 15. And that 1 year I was supposed to be with my dad, but he would just he would be gone
Just, like, pawning
all the
you
time.
off on
Exactly.
other people.
He pawned me off a lot, and that's why I ended up being with my sisters a lot. But yeah, and then in that time, that's when I really got to see who he was, and really like realize like, oh, this is the person that you are. This is the type of father that you are. Like, I've always believed that you loved me, and yes, you keep saying it, but yeah, you're not showing it with your actions. So then by the time I hit adulthood, like I guess I still kind of had that veil in my eyes where I'm like, oh my God, I love you so much still, no matter what has happened, no matter, because we had never gone in an argument. He has never made me actually like feel bad ever. So that's why, like, I don't know, the last time I saw him, that was the only time we did get into an argument, and then like he ends up disappearing, and so now I don't really have
Closure.
a conclusion. Yeah, I don't have closure. So yeah, he's been missing for 2 years, and there's just been really hard dealing with it because it's just because of the fact that there's no closure. I don't know what to do with that relationship in my life, you know? Like I said, like I have abandonment issues, and then like I don't know. It's just, I'm a mess.
I don't know. I'm really curious of it because I know that when we went to the Maná concert, that was really like emotional for you because it gave you a good memory of your dad.
Yeah.
So do you feel like really conflicted in that?
Exactly. That's why that's why I said like I feel like I'm in the middle because that little girl, that little Tiff that saw her dad as a hero, like she's still very much alive within me, and that's why when I went to Maná and like I had that connection, like I it's that little girl inside that's coming out and saying like I fucking love my dad, like my dad is my hero, he's my rock and everything. But then the adult Tiff comes in and realizes who
She knows he's not quite
Right.
that.
Exactly.
knight in
Yeah,
armor.
and being in the middle is hard, except for last night when I was in the middle of my comforter and my mattress.
I was in the middle of tearing up for Tiffany, and I'm just in a
Do you need some comfort?
I do.
You do?
Comfort.
Well, I wish we had a Buffy in studio for you, but I've been taking them all home. That's right, guys.
Hoarding all the Buffies.
It's time
Is that
to talk
why
about.
I still don't have one?
I don't have one either because she has a fucking fork built
Wait,
with it.
can you guys just talk about that segue? Because I felt like it was pretty good.
Yeah, that was
pretty
pretty good.
good.
Okay.
I'm proud of you both.
Like, thank you. Because
you-
normally
are you
I'm like,
amazing?
normally I'm like, Buffy. Guys, I have been like the spokeswoman, the man, the myth, the legend, the most excited person ever for the Buffy. I just got my baby back from the cleaners yesterday.
Me too.
Dude.
Yesterday.
Oh, your cat pissed on yours.
My cat pissed on mine. I was pissed. I was so mad.
I've been to the cleaners 4 times in my life, and I literally just started going for my Buffy. Like, I want it to be in the most top quality condition. It's white. They bleach it perfect. Get all the stains out. I don't have time for all that. But it's worth it. It's worth it. It is by far the most comfortable comforter I've ever had in my
really
life.
is. I have one too.
Dude,
I
y'all
love
so
it.
everybody
has one, but
Not me.
Jess.
Yeah.
Sorry, girls.
Yeah?
So
That's
not
right.
everyone. You know,
'Cause
you and
know
Jess.
what? Screw y'all. Y'all know when you go to a hotel.
You gotta earn it.
You do.
Your cat pisses on yours again.
You know why? It's because you love your dads.
True.
Oh yeah.
We don't need the comfort.
If you have a loving dad, you don't need a comforter.
We don't need well, I need to.
comfort.
Seriously, guys, it is my favorite comforter of all time. I'd say that the best way I can describe it is, y'all know when you're on a hotel trip and you finally get in your hotel bed and you're like, this is amazing. It's not the mattress. It's not the hotel. It's the freaking comforter.
It really is.
The comforter is what makes a bed so amazing.
How do I get one of these?
Invest in Buffy. And you're probably wondering, what is Buffy? Buffy makes a super soft, earth-friendly bedding. And because a comfy night's sleep is even comfier when it doesn't harm the environment. It's not made out of a tree. Who knew? So Buffy makes the Earth's most comfortable bedding. Everything is made from ultra-smooth eucalyptus fiber that feels softer than cotton. It really is. Eucalyptus fiber is breathable and cool to the touch to help maintain the ideal sleeping temperature and feel cozy without overheating. That's why I like it, because I'd be sweating like a pig.
Gross.
That's not gross, it's natural.
Okay.
Where do we get it? All of their products are cruelty-free and hypoallergenic. People love
Where?
Buffy. It has a 4.6 star rating. 20,000 reviews. That is such a high average. What has 20,000? Buffy offers a free trial. You can try the comforter in your own bed for free, and if you don't love it, you can return it at no cost. So for $20 off your Buffy comforter, visit buffy.co and enter MOOD. Once again, for $20 off your Buffy comforter, that's buffy.co and enter the code MOOD at checkout.
Hallelujah. And when I get my Buffy, I smile really big. Yes, I'm so happy.
And what kind of smile do you have?
Well, I had to use braces to get my smile this straight, but I wish I didn't because this technology was not available for me when I was in high school, but it is for you because Candid Co. has these clear aligners that you don't need to have this ugly ass
Brace
metal
face.
brace face.
And you
I
can
even
take 'em
used to get-
off.
Okay, can you please stop attacking me? Okay. I had headgear when I was a kid.
Oh my god, I had the
Right?
thing where it like widens your mouth.
Same.
Oh gosh.
Oh.
Y'all are nerds.
I even tried to get the clear bands so that it didn't look as obvious.
I
but
had
then
those.
yellow.
Yeah, it's so nasty.
Bad. Oh my god. So unlike braces, Candid clear aligners are comfortable, removable, and totally invisible. So you can transform your smile without anyone noticing a thing. You never have to set foot in a doctor's office or a waiting room, which is also awesome because who likes doing that? I hate driving too, so like that's
Save
tight.
time.
Just get it in the mail.
You get your treatment prescribed remotely by a licensed orthodontist, and Candid delivers everything you need right to your door. And unlike other companies, Candid only works with orthodontists, never general dentists. So that means your treatment will be designed by an expert in tooth movement with 20 years of experience on average. If you're, looking forward to a special event, you can get the average treatment length is only 6 months. So you'll start seeing results basically like right away. It's the simplest, freest way to get started on straight teeth. So
How do I get it?
if you're ready to take the first step towards straighter teeth, limited time, you could get started with a $75 off by using code MOOD at candidcode.com/mood.
Mood.
That's candidcode.com/mood. Use code MOOD for $75 off. Candidcode.com/mood.
Mood.
Code MOOD.
Oh my God.
Yes, 75 mother-freaking dollars off.
Yeah.
Daddy freaking dollars off.
Oh no.
Daddies. Bows.
Daddies.
Oh,
You
yeah.
haven't gotten to your daddy yet. What happened?
Have I told any of you guys about my dad at
I feel
all?
like I
you
know
almost
nothing
did.
about your dad.
You've
I feel
told me a little bit, but it's so really like.
Is your dad-
on a JK News? It was an all girls episode, so I know we were all in that
Wait,
episode.
what?
How come
That
you guys
was like
don't
2 years
remember?
ago.
She opened up to us.
We drank that night.
Yeah, I know. I don't know why
Oh,
I
yeah, we
remember
did
things.
drink.
It compartmentalizes in my mind. But she called her dad and was like, "Why did you leave?" Right?
I did.
You said that in the
I
episode.
did one time.
Oh my God,
yeah, I remember
Nikki
this
loves
now.
you. She remembered that.
I remember
I've called-
everything
I love
about
her too,
everybody.
but I just have a bad memory.
Yeah, I've called this motherfucker quite a few times.
Oh no.
Well, let me look. I'm gonna try to I want to give you guys a bunch of information, but also I don't want to hog up too much of the time. But I feel like there are so many people
We
out
got a
there
lot of time.
that didn't grow up with their dads, like single mothers, and then also there's a lot of guys out there that are listening, and like I can tell you what my perspective of it is. If you fucking leave.
Oh,
Yes. So my dad was he was a chef. He was like a TV chef.
My dad was a chef too.
The TV show.
Yeah, he was a TV chef. I mean, he never
What's this
landed
motherfucker's name? I'm gonna go look him up.
Nah,
Give him,
he
like, low
never
star ratings.
landed anything like too crazy, but like 80s, 90s, he was a TV chef. He was also a bartender in Washington, D.C. So he was just like cool, hip. He's like part black, like part Native American, and then like part European. So he was kind
Whoa.
of fine.
So he was
you know?
light skinned
Yeah,
and
he's a little
sexy as
light-skinned, a
hell.
little exotic. And
He was Obama.
Everyone
had Obama as a dad except for me.
He was a bartender. He could cook. So my mom and my dad met, and like he really wooed her. But this man was also an alcoholic, and he was not ready to settle down by any means. My mother, sometime in her late 20s, had a tumor on her ovaries that was about the size of a grapefruit.
Oh
like
my
when they found out about
gosh.
it, and so she had half of her reproductive system removed, or like some large portion of it. And I don't know. Like, I just know that was a thing. So, plot twist, my mom gets fucking pregnant with me with this dude.
Oh, you're a
Wow.
miracle baby.
So she doesn't think she can get pregnant, and then she gets pregnant.
I'm not sure. I never asked her too much about this. I just know that maybe she thought she was fine.
It
I
was
don't
a
know if
factor though, like maybe she wasn't expecting you.
Yeah,
for sure.
But I know that she really, I know she really liked my dad, was really interested in him and wanted him to settle down. And like, he wasn't ready. He was a hot bartender in DC he was a fuck boy. Like my dad was literally kind of a fuck boy. And so my mom had other suitors that were really interested in her. And there was one guy, and this kind of like really hurt me when I was younger, but obviously she didn't do it. It was this one guy that really liked her that she worked with, and he wanted to date my mom, and he told her, he was like, please don't have this child. I will pay you money to like have the abortion and also like to help you out and not have this kid. And my mom said no, because this is miracle baby, and she's also like very religious, and she had me. And I don't really know my dad's perspective on it, but he was not around. I think he might have been there for when I was delivered, but after that, he went back up to DC, and he just never really
It
like.
was too real for him. He was like, "Oh fuck no, I don't."
Yeah, he never really came back around. And you know, as I got older, like I'm like, "Where's my dad? Where's my dad?" But my mom was like, she was always there. Always there. So I guess I didn't think that much. And then also my grandpa was a very prominent male figure in my life. Like anything I needed, like my grandpa was there. He was basically my dad. But it started to become very real to me that I was lacking this relationship with my father. Like when I went to school and I would see other people with their kids or with their dads. And my mom would always invite him to come down and visit, and he would just never come. Like there was like one time that like I had this smiley face shirt and he was supposed to come visit, and my mom was like, why did you pick that shirt? And I was like, because I want daddy to see how happy I am to see him. And I still remember waiting in the doorway, like for him to I remember like waiting in the doorway for him to pull up, and I was like, he's gonna pull up at any second. Like I still remember standing there, and he never called and he never came. And this was maybe the third or the fourth time that he had done this. And I decided that I was done. Like, I was done. He was no longer.
How old were you at this time?
I don't know. Maybe like 8 or 9.
Oh,
Yeah. I was like, we're done here.
Oh my
I was like,
God.
you're excused.
my heart's
canceled.
My heart's
Oh,
breaking.
yeah. He was canceled. I remember at a very young age completely shutting myself down to that because I wasn't going to let this guy hurt me anymore. My heart was not open for him. In fact, I shut out a lot of people after that too, because I realized how deeply I could be hurt. I'm a very sensitive person. So I went on and on without him, and I was fine.
Now you're a lot stronger than me.
I never thought about it. I never really thought about him again, like very rarely. And so my relationship with my dad just continued to like decline. I went out there for one summer to visit.
Tissue.
And I don't don't need no damn tissue.
You're
Fun fact,
You're
if you don't want to
getting real wet
cry,
over here.
Squeeze your butthole.
fun fact, if you don't want to
Squeeze
cry,
your butthole.
clench your butthole.
Oh, really? Oh, well, I'm down. All right,
I've been
I'll
clenching
let
some
bad boy over
clench
here.
so
Where are the
tight
damn
every day.
glasses?
Oh, I got diamonds
Where's
in
the
this
cry
bitch right
glasses?
now.
Where are the cry glasses?
Yeah.
We lost them.
So I shut it down hard, and I remember like your boy was fine. Like I was fucking fine. Because when you shut that part out, it doesn't really hurt anymore. And so then I did one summer where I went to visit him. He was a weird dude. He's like growing weed plants and shit. He was real funny. We laughed the same. We had like without having contact with each other, we were so similar.
How did that connection happen again?
I don't know. I really don't remember.
So you've always had a way to contact him, but you guys never really.
No real interest, I think, from either parties.
Okay.
When I finally decided to visit him, it was because my friend and I wanted a vacation, and he offered to fly us both up there and just stay with him for the summer. And it was in a really, 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 really nice place. It was in Martha's Vineyard. Martha's Vineyard.
This fool's making money?
No. That's where I'm part Wampanoag, and my tribe is from there.
Oh.
So yeah, I visited him, didn't really think too much of it. I was like, all right, sick. Went back home, and I was just so shut off. It just really didn't do much for me. But I'm trying to like even think what happened. So for a long time, I was really shut off, but deep down inside, you can shut your heart down, but something still hurts sometimes. And there would be times where something bad would happen, and my abandonment issues would trigger again, and I would immediately blame him. So I think that's where my calling him would happen sometimes, because he was the root of it. And I didn't want him, but I was angry with him that he planted this seed in me that affected me at such a young age, and it grew into this poison in my life that was affecting my other relationships. I was very angry with him for that. But a few years and years later, sometime when I was in my 20s, I had a guy friend, and he got a girl pregnant. And he didn't, and also my dad never paid any child support, no nothing. He was
Why
just
didn't
a
your
ghost.
mom make him?
And actually something you said was really interesting to me. You said that your mom always blamed your dad. My mom never really spoke ill of my father. She never really did. She was
She just
very
wrote him off.
stoic.
Yeah.
That was the best way to do it, because you have such a close relationship with your mom. So
Yeah.
she was very aware of that too.
I never thought about that she didn't talk shit about him. He's obviously a piece of shit. He was an alcoholic, but she didn't really talk badly of him. At least to me. I have this friend that gets a girl pregnant, and he's in his early 20s, and he's like, I can't have this kid. Like, I told her I don't want to be a dad. I'm not ready to be a dad. Like, I can't do this. And I agreed with him. I was like, you are not ready to be a dad. I'm like, you need to like communicate this with her. Like, maybe she has to get an abortion, but you guys need to pay for it. Like, you need to really figure this out. Well, she wanted to have the kid no matter what, and he was devastated. He was absolutely devastated. He didn't want to marry her. He's fuck, this is my son. He didn't know what to do, so he pieced out and he just paid child support. And I got it. Like, I got it in that moment that my dad was not ready to have a child. He wanted to live his life. He was still a young guy. He was bartending. He's getting pussy, getting money. Like, he's having the time of his life. And then now you have this kid that's 3 hours away that you didn't really ask for. And, and I got it. It wasn't me. It was not me. He didn't know me enough to like write me off.
Right.
So I could never take it so personally. He was just selfish and wanted to live his life. And I forgave him, and I understood because I knew what my guy friend was going for. So fast forward to today, that's honestly my relationship with my dad. Like, not everyone takes it that way, but the kind of sad part that we're at now is that he never wanted really anything to do with me for the longest time. And I told you guys he was a TV chef. Mm-hmm. So he was like kind of famous. He was in entertainment. He's funny. That's where my extroversion comes from. And then suddenly I'm on YouTube and I'm doing all this stuff. I have a red carpet picture. He would always ask me to like send pictures and stuff. And he starts realizing like, wait, like my daughter's killing it. Like she must be a big deal. And then suddenly he wants to call me all the time. Suddenly he wants all of my most recent pictures. He wants to post all my pictures. He's like, look at my baby. He's like posting these on Facebook.
No.
He's sending
He
these
doesn't get
out.
to do that.
You know, he's
he's asking me, how much money am I making? How much is this? What is this? And where he's at right now is he had like a fucking small food truck or something, and he drives Uber and he sells weed. Straight up. That's what he's doing. And even if I wanted to forge a relationship with my father, I'm terrified of having to take care of him. I'm terrified of having to pay for his retirement fund that does not exist. I'm terrified of having to fly him out and him wanting to live with me. I don't know his wife. I'm not close with her. And, you know, when I make my first $1 million, when your boy makes it, every single dollar that I have to spare and, you know, in excess is going to my mother and taking care of my mother that was always there. I will put her in a golden retirement home that overlooks the whole city. And every extra dollar I have is going to her and it's not going to him. So I've kind of had to make a difficult choice to really kind of cut him off in the past year because I don't want to get close. I don't want to be obligated. I don't want to...
Like, because you're like in an emotionally vulnerable place, and like if you do get close to him, it might be like out of your hands, but you might kind of fall for him again as your dad, and then wind up sort of being taken advantage of.
Yeah. Literally being taken advantage of. Like, there's no reason for you to ask what kind of money I'm making or for you to, you know, like ask what my boyfriend's career is or for you to, you know, it really concerned me when I started hearing a lot about money or I want more red carpet photos, you know?
Does he still reach out?
Sometimes. He was like, hey,
sorry.
He was like, hey, I want to send you some money for Christmas. And I was like, all right, here's my PayPal. Thanks. Bye. Like, you still chipping away for that child support that you never paid. Like, I'll take it if you're offering it. But he doesn't have much. So I never really, you know, if it's my birthday and he's like, oh, I want to send you something. I'm like, nah, dude, we're good, you know? But every now and then if he offers, I'll be like, sure, why not? I mean, the man hasn't paid me or my mother probably more than $1,500 in my entire life, you know?
My God.
Yeah, she took care of everything.
Wow. So, that's the reason why my dad went to Mexico, because after they split up and they went to court and there was like a child support that he had to pay.
He was running from the court order?
He ran for that.
Oh my God. Yeah, dude. They don't want to pay that child support.
Well, they think it's just going to the wife and they hate the woman so much or they're just so over that woman. They're like, I'm not giving you my money. Like, bitch. It's not even about her.
Yeah, and then plus my dad had, like, he popped out way more other kids too. Like, Isaac, my son is older than two of his uncles. Like, it's crazy. Jeez. Or an aunt and an uncle. Yeah.
Oh, shit.
Like, I have half siblings.
Yeah, I forgot my dad, I was not the first victim. My dad he was actually married before, and I have a half sister that I've never met before. I've spoken to her on the phone twice in my entire life, and when I heard her voice for the first time, I fucking cried because she sounded just like me, like just the way she spoke. And she and I have started to connect a little bit more, like not that much, but she doesn't want to hear my dad's name at all. She doesn't want to hear anything about him. And she was like, one day we'll hang out and get wasted and talk mad shit about him. And I'm like so down. But yeah, like we've never met before.
Did she have any type of relationship at all with him?
No, she was not blessed in the way that I was. My mom never drove a wedge between my dad and I because she knew how important a relationship between a child and a father should be. But my sister's mom really drove a wedge and was like, that motherfucker.
Yeah. Well, then, I mean, it's good and bad because, I mean, you have those very, very hurtful moments of, like, waiting for him to pick you up and, like, him never doing that. But for her, it's kind of like it's just a ghost.
Yeah.
She never got hurt. So it's hard for me to decide, like, what's the right choice as a woman, you know, with a child. It's like...
Well, for me personally, I ended up, because I was on one end of the spectrum where it's my mom talking shit about my dad and that made me resent my mom and have a bad relationship with my mom, I decided to never, ever play that role in my son's life. Like, I have tried my best. Like, I've been very conscious to never talk ill of his father, to like force them to go in there and like have a relationship. Like,
that's great.
Like, ever since he was a baby too, like I would always be like, dude, you have to come and see your son. You have to. Like, you have to have a relationship with him. You have to pick him up, and you need to be in his life.
Tiff's like, hey, you go pick him up. You go show up.
Yeah, you're not gonna be late. Exactly. You're not gonna leave him waiting. He's all happy to see you.
She's having flashbacks to little Tiff. Whenever I picture little Tiff, I imagine her with blue hair.
Just like a cartoon character, like just a little like bobblehead.
With the same clothes I'm currently wearing.
With her baggy. It's like the same size. Just grown into them yet.
Sleeves are just like
Yeah. Cute.
it's adorable.
You know, it's interesting too. I mean, it makes sense. Like us as adults now being the age our parents were when they, had us, like had little baby us's running around, to empathize with them and all the things that didn't make sense when we were kids. You kind of are like, oh, I understand now, and I empathize, because I feel like my dad was like, it was like the other way it could have gone, where, I was not planned, and my mom was only 21 when she got pregnant with me, and he was 23. And so they had me very, very young. And at that time, my dad had just gotten kicked out of college. He was playing baseball. He was getting scouted by baseball teams, and he was wanted to be professional ball player. And then I come along, and he basically had to choose between being a dad or moving to Arizona and playing baseball. And so he chose being a dad, which I really respect him for and I'm grateful for now. But because when I was a kid, all he wanted to do was play baseball. He was on 3 different teams. I hardly ever saw him unless we were there at the baseball game, and then he would be getting drunk all night with his friends, and just being a young 20s guy. And I didn't get that as a kid. It was why does he never want to spend time with me, but and then when he would spend time, he'd be kind of angry, and I wouldn't get it. But he was really fucking stressed. He was having to balance being a 20-something guy and then completing college. He was like, okay, I'll go back to school. I'll get my degree. He got his degree. I was at his graduation when I was 4, when he graduated and got his bachelor's degree. And then when I was in junior high or high school, when he went back and got his master's to become a CPA, and he did all that as that was his plan B. And he would always tell me you got to have a plan B. You got to get your degree. You got to have that security, because imagine if I had just pursued being a baseball player and then I wouldn't be able to take care of the family. So he really relied on principle, and I really like that. And I think that's where we're similar, is the owning responsibility and not making excuses and not being selfish if we did something, to own it and to take responsibility for it. But because he was so caught up in the security factor of it, oh, you got to get your degree to because what if something happens? When I said I wanted to drop out of school to be an actor, is when he was like, oh no, you got to get that degree.
Also, probably a little bit of him is no, I couldn't do that. You're not going to do that.
He would have these conversations you got to follow your passion. You got to follow your passion. And he's like, wait, but you also got to get that degree.
He wanted you to be well-rounded,
so
right?
My dad was, dude, how do I put this? My dad was in school for a long time.
Okay.
He was in school for a long time.
What do you mean? I feel like there's a subtext here.
He was in school for a long time.
That's all you're getting.
And
is this a criminal thing, or he or he was held
it was
back?
School boast. He's a scholar.
I'm trying to figure out what school means.
Oh, he got a master's?
He was just fucking wild back then, right? And then so when he was in school, he he went to school right after my mom was pregnant with me, and then he did a complete 180. When he was sitting in school, he was
the school of hard knocks. Yeah.
He was like, shit, I have a daughter now. And usually it's people don't change, but when he found out I have a daughter, complete 180. I'm talking now the man has a business, a big house, a family.
Wow.
The only thing that gives it away is the way he looks, if you saw his tattoos and stuff. So knowing that just makes me I'm so proud of him. I'm such a proud daughter, and
awesome.
because people, they don't, a lot of times that doesn't work out, and I respect it so much, because I asked someone, so he lives with this constant regret of not being able to get food as fast as he possibly can.
Oh my gosh.
When he was in school, he had to eat in the cafeteria and it was terrible, but you know what he wished he had?
DoorDash.
Oh my god.
That's right.
This is traumatized.
I'm a suck
segue.
Do you have big plans for 2020?
Or when you get out of school?
Do you have big plans for when you get out of school, but no time to really make food?
Mm-hmm.
Well,
all the time.
With DoorDash, you could just get food delivered right to your door. It's in the name. It's pretty obvious what it does, right?
Yeah, so you can order delivery with DoorDash and take back time in your day because, you want to save that time.
Dude, it's so great. Like, I just lay there, just veg out in my robe, just like drooling, and then the doorbell goes off, and it's my food. It's here.
You got a doorbell?
I was just thinking that. I don't have a doorbell.
You have a doorbell?
No.
I got one of those fancy camera ones. So I don't even open it unless there's fucking DoorDash at my door.
Exactly.
With door-to-door delivery in all 50 U.S. states, Puerto Rico, Canada, Australia. Oh, Australia, damn. You can order from your local go-tos or choose from your favorite national restaurants like Chipotle, Wendy's.
Are you picturing someone like taking a boat to Australia?
I was like, how do they get there?
Oh my God.
Like, it was a kangaroo. He keeps the food warm in his pouch.
Chick-fil-A, Cheesecake Factory with DoorDash. With DoorDash, you'll never have to worry about your next meal.
Yeah, they have over 310,000 restaurants and partners with 4,000 cities. So you will definitely find your favorite restaurant. So you can definitely order that.
Right now, our listeners can get $5 off their first order of $15 or more when you download the DoorDash app and enter promo code BIGMOOD. That's $5 off your first order when you download the DoorDash app in the App Store and enter promo code BIGMOOD.
Big move.
Yes. Don't forget. That's promo code BIGMOOD for $5 off your first order.
And right after you order that food, it's time to relax.
Yeah, you gotta
we're
relax.
talking meditation or possibly sleep. And how do you get some better relaxation, meditation, or sleep? But the Calm app.
Yes.
Exactly.
The Calm app is actually one of my favorite apps. I've been on it for 3 or 4 years now.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I've had it for a while too.
I've had it for a long ass time, and I love it. Her voice just like instantly puts me in this very meditative
Well, that's
state.
why it's the #1 app for sleep and relaxation and meditation because it has sleep stories. Do you have a favorite?
A favorite sleep story?
Yeah.
No, I actually don't. I don't use it for sleep. I use it for stress because I'm constantly stressed out. And I like how they have their daily calm where it's a 10-minute meditation and she gives you a little like something to think about for your day. And it's usually accompanied by a story, like a little like blurb of like why why you should think about that throughout your day. Like, hey, we're not all perfect. And did you know that in Japan, they have these vases that are filled in with gold cracks because like it celebrates the flaws. And I'm like, oh shit, I got to celebrate my flaws.
How cute.
We have celebrities that read you stories, and I've been really advocating for Gilbert Gottfried.
Oh my God, that would be amazing.
Oh, his voice? Oh no.
That would
is
go
not
on the
calming.
opposite app.
I do not know what he sounds
I
like.
have listened to a story about like lavender fields, and it did put me to sleep, and I did have a dream about lavender fields.
Oh, that sounds so calming.
It was.
Yeah, girl.
My favorite thing is actually the master classes that they have on the app.
Oh,
It's
yeah?
like they'll have like someone doing lectures, and it's like 10-part lectures
You
about.
would like that part.
Okay.
She's the one with the master's degree.
True.
Rub it in.
So for listeners of the show, Calm is offering a special limited time promotion of 40% off a Calm premium subscription at calm.com/mood. That's 40% off unlimited access to Calm's entire library, and new content is added every week. So get started today at calm.com/mood. That's calm.com/mood.
Sit on down and relax, girl.
I wanted to ask.
Yeah, go ahead.
Did any of you guys have like a stepdad situation? Because a lot of people end up having.
Oh my God, I forgot about him, but I really like him.
Oh, that's cute.
He's mad cool. Okay, wait. So yeah, I had a stepdad come into my life around like 15 or so, and it was when I was at like my absolute worst. It was really weird because my mom and my stepdad thought that like I didn't like him or like I was mad at him, but in reality like I fucking hated everybody. Like I wanted everyone to die. Like 15 was like my absolute, like I ran away from home a few times, and like so there was a time that my mom thought this because like she's probably stopped listening by now, so I can say this. So I had run away from home, and when I came, I like remember this. When I came back, it was the first time my mom cried. And I'd never seen her like cry over me before. She was just always like very, very like stoic. She felt like she had to be the strong one for us. But in turn, she didn't like show enough emotion. And there was one time that like when I ran away, I told her, because you don't need me anymore. And so she thought that like I felt like
she thought that I was like saying like, you guys don't need me, you have each other. But I was more so saying, bitch, you are so sensitive. I felt like I had to stay around because you would just crumble like otherwise. Like I knew that my mom was always putting on a strong face, but she's such a fucking softie. And I felt like I couldn't leave her. I felt like that I had to be there for her too. And so when my stepdad comes into the picture, I was like, oh, thank God, he'll take care of her. And so like when I told her this, like she really thought that like I didn't like him for the longest time, but like I always loved the guy. And he takes amazing care of my mom, and he started to show me, that's one thing that's really important, like with a dad. A dad shows you as a young girl how you should be treated, and it teaches you like things about men. One of the worst things that's happened to me my entire life, or throughout my life, is that I didn't understand men. A lot of times, like you guys like lived with your dads for a while. If something really like sad happens at school or drama or something, you run over into your dad's lap and you're like, Dad. And he's just like, the fuck are you talking about? I never had that. So I didn't know that men don't want to hear about that shit. I didn't get to learn what men care about and what men don't. So when I started having relationships, they were really bad because I didn't know how to have a relationship with a man. I had no idea. I didn't have one. So when this guy comes in my life around 15, I started to see how a wife and husband act around the house and what they do. And I saw him always taking care of her. And like, I was so grateful that like, finally I didn't have to take care of her anymore. But also that he was doing such a good job and she was so happy. And I felt like she was in good hands. So
Awesome.
I moved out at like, my mom and I were at war a lot for the longest time, but like I moved out at 17, I moved out again at 20, I moved out again at 22. Like, and then I finally moved out again to LA, and it like calms me down so much that he can take care of her, because I don't know if you guys don't have single moms at all, or any of you guys have single moms. It hurts you to leave your mother. It really, really does. Like, she needs to be like taken care of. You want somebody there to like, you know, keep it together. And like, that's what my stepdad was for me. He was never like, oh my God, you're my dad, like, until more recently. But he was there to protect and take care of my mom. And I needed that so that I could be free and go out and spread my wings.
That's cool.
My dad still treats me like a little kid, which I really like. It's cool. I like it a lot.
I really like that.
And whenever I come visit, I run around the house screaming that if they don't feed me, I will call CPS on them.
I feel like that's how you are as a girlfriend too.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
I was gonna ask how relationships with dads affect your relationships with men, and I'm glad that Bo's talked about that, because that is, I feel like you do.
That's funny you say that, because my relationship with men is like, I don't need you.
Oh yeah.
It definitely directly.
It really did. Like, it's always been like, I don't
Dude,
need
I think
you.
the fact that my relationship with my dad is so good and he's like treats me like a princess kind of ruins it a little bit for my relationship with men, because I'm like, how dare you not just do this for me already? Like, do you not know who I am? Like,
I'm daddy's girl.
like as a man, you should be doing this, you know? And they're just like, I'm not your dad, you know? Like
child.
yeah, like I would compare Joe a lot of times too. I'm like, well, my dad would just do that for me, and Joe's like, well, what the fuck? Like that's your dad. That's why, you know. And I'm just like,
daddy issues out of here.
yeah, I don't really. I expect too much from men.
You have a high standard
Yeah,
now.
and so I feel like that's good. But I think I still have the. It's like
cute.
it's similar because I do have mommy issues, so I still have bad relationships in general because I just like I don't trust people a lot of times. I have the fear of abandonment still, but like with a man, it's different.
It feels like, based off of what you described with your dad would just, he genuinely felt so lucky to be in your presence.
Yeah.
And so now the men, like, you're like,
You get to hang out with me.
I'm here. Isn't that enough? And you're like,
Where's my coffee and my cigarette and my blanket? Where?
where's my blanket?
Where's my crown?
Where's my inflatable pool?
Yeah, where's my
Inflatable
pool?
I need to go for a splash.
A little splishy splash. I'm gonna go for a splishy splash. I'll be back.
No, I mean I'm not that like
Run my bath. Run my bath,
that
man.
spoiled. Not that spoiled.
My
but-
dad's very like, so we have this thing where whenever I come home, like I said, he still treats me like a kid. He'll like, when my mom's not looking, he's like, here, I have some money for you. You take your money. I'm like, Dad, I'm like 30 years old. He goes, I don't care. You're always going to be my baby. He just hands me like a wad of cash. And then I always leave. Like I always fly home in the afternoon when my dad's working, so I sneak back into his room and I hide money in there, and then some more, and it's become like this constant back and forth.
That's a cute game.
It's the most adorable thing, and like he thinks like my mom doesn't know, and I'm just like, Dad, Mom knows. She knows, you know.
That's
it's
funny.
like it's like this little cute little thing. Just take some money. Like he'll hide in the room, or like he'll pull me aside, like, come here, I just want to give you some money. I'm like, Dad, stop. It's really cute. But like what I was saying earlier, since he didn't have like. We didn't grow up together. He lives with like this constant regret of like, I didn't raise you. I'm a terrible father. And I'm like, Dad, dude, you're fucking dope. You know, like from how you changed your life to what it is now is nearly like impossible for a lot of people, you know?
That's
so
cool.
it's been like a really like he still has those thoughts. But whenever I see him, I'm like, you're fucking cool, man. We always hang out. Like, well, he's like watching TV, and I just lay there with my head on his lap, like, hey, Dad.
So did you ever like on your mom's side, like did she ever have someone in her life where you would see as like a sort of stepdad?
No, my mom. Oh God, Jesus, how do I put this? My mom.
A lot of mommy issues here.
Yeah, I feel
We
like
can have a whole episode on mommy issues.
So that
Love
woman,
you, Ma.
so she is. You know how like people, I always make it a joke, like I'm a fucking ABG. Like they go out and they party. My mom is the original ABG.
quintessential.
She's the OG ABG.
She's a
Oh my
veterana.
God,
She's still about that life.
She
dude.
invented
Like,
the ABG
Is
life.
she super
Yeah.
fine? I want to see your mom.
She's aged very well, and she's always been really pretty, and she's still about that life. Like she goes out with her friends on the weekends. She like loves Hennessy and all that shit. She goes hiking with her friends and takes photos. And
I just
shit.
want one time to go party with your mom.
Okay, so here's the thing.
Even
My
if it's
mom-
ratchet, I don't care. I want to go party with your mom.
Yeah. So the thing with my mom is we got along when we were younger.
Oh no.
And like we took her clubbing, like, oh, this is so cool. I'm going clubbing with my mom. It was fucking dope. It was when I was 21. And then now I'm just like, all right.
You feel older than your mom now.
Yeah. So I'm like,
So your mom was
You
the
aged up.
type that just had boyfriends?
so she was always.
Come on, Gina. She just likes to have fun.
I know.
Quit
So
being
I
a
was fine with that.
sourpuss.
ABGs just want to have fun.
And I was fine with that when I was younger. I was like, okay, well, she had me when she was like 20, dude. Like,
Yeah.
she's making up for it, you know? And then now it's just like, all right, come on.
You're
like, bring
old
it on
now,
home.
yeah.
You still at the club, Mom?
Yeah, right? So it's just
Damn.
like, it's getting, like, it's cool for a few years. Now it's kind of like an embarrassing too many years, you know?
Mhm.
So we got along when we were younger because I understood. And then she started getting more and more like she would tell me and my siblings, like, when are you guys just gonna like move and go out? I want to do my own thing. And it's just like, dude, what the shit, you know? So she was always more like a birth giver, but not necessarily a mom. You know what I
Sounds
mean?
like a derogatory term. You're just a birth giver.
Yeah, you know?
Just a vessel. Freaking birth giver
Yeah.
over there.
Right? So like we have moments where it's like it's really sweet, you know, like I used to when I was all the way up until I was a teenager, whenever I went to go visit with her when we'd sleep, I just like hold her hand because I would want to sleep in the same bed as her, so it was fine. But then after a while I'm just like, hey, like you can't be treating your kids like they're burdens to your partying life, you know, like we're your fucking kids. I remember she would tell us like, oh, tell them that you're my sister. You know what I
Damn.
mean? So
Oh my
it's like,
gosh. We don't really hear about that. There are a lot of women that should not have had kids. Yeah. And we always hear like the guys being pieces of shit, but there are a lot of piece of shit women too that should not have had kids.
You got a lot to say, huh?
Oh yeah.
Oh, damn. Do we need to
Exactly.
do
Our
a
parents-
mommy episode?
We
Yeah,
need a mommy
seriously.
Let us
episode.
know in the comments if we need a mommy episode.
I kind of feel like a little bit too. I'm afraid of having kids because of like how shitty my mom was, and I don't have a guy in my life that seems as stable as my dad, as calm as my dad,
Yeah.
as like understanding and like willing to like sacrifice their lives.
Damn, you're gonna marry a guy that reminds you of your dad.
Yeah.
Yeah, for sure.
It's true.
Seriously, dude, like my dad, I would wake up and my dad would have pink fucking frosted donuts waiting for me on the kitchen counter. And like if a guy, no, not homemade. If a guy doesn't wake, like if I don't wake up and there's not pink frosted donuts on the kitchen counter, it's like
That's the way to Jess's heart.
you're
Take
a
notes, guys.
loser, dude.
Yeah.
Like,
Oh my god. Yeah, I think our dad set the standard really
Yeah,
high.
like,
if
way
my
too high.
dad ever found out that I split a bill with the guy, he'd be like, leave him now.
See, that's the thing is like my dad wasn't like didn't treat me like a princess, but he was very much like through actions, like he liked to take care of me like financially secure, like security wise, which I resented as a child because I was like, when I grow up and make my own money, you won't be able to control me. Like, because I felt like he would almost be like, it's my money, my rules, you know? And it was really just, he wanted us to be safe and taken care of. And he would make jokes about like when I moved out, he'd be like, well, I'm still paying your health insurance, you know? And when are you going to start paying your health insurance? And
secretly,
then
he doesn't want you to pay your health
when I
insurance.
finally started paying all of the bills, he kind of got sad about it.
He has no purpose anymore.
That's funny because you guys are saying it's like your dad set the standard because you have very high standards for men. You have astronomical standards for me. And then mine is like basic fucking kindness.
Dude,
And
same.
you just show up.
You just have to be there.
A guy like
And that
actually
works.
like listens to everything I say in a conversation. I'm like, well, just drop those trousers.
He's
I'm gonna
the
go and
one,
suck your dick.
It's so funny. So my dad is like yours. So my dad's Vietnamese, obviously, right? My stepmom is white. And it's the funniest thing. I had to teach my dad how to date my stepmom, because he is all about like, everything's taken care of. I pay the bills. If you need something, take the credit card, go. You know, like that's how he shows love, right? And that's how I show love too. I'm like, here, I bought you something. I took care of everything. We're good. My mom's white.
He's hugs
She
and
wants
like
hugs
kisses
and I love yous and
yes.
dates and flowers, right? And it was so funny because my dad and my stepmom kind of split up for a little bit because she was lacking that, and then he was just destroyed. Like I did like an emergency fly in, and like he like tried. The fool didn't even know how to like heat up a pizza in the oven. He literally just popped a frozen pizza in there and just turned it on, just stared at it. No preheating or anything.
Cardboard box on it.
The plastic still. The coffee machine's like, how do I do this? No, he was so lost without her. And he was like, I need to get her back. And so I had to teach him how to date. And it was the cutest thing. I'm like this like 27-year-old kid, like teaching him how to date. And then I was like, okay. And like he's like, she sent me a heart on Facebook. What do I say? Like it was really cute. And then he's like, no, you type it. And I was like, okay, you need to give her space. And then just say, okay, good night. I love you. And then he goes, and then ask her, can I come see her? I'm like, no.
Yeah.
Chill. Like it was so cute.
Your dad's adorable.
I love your dad. I
He's
want to
so
meet your
cute.
dad.
And then like he goes, I have a date with her next week.
Oh.
And then so like I was like, did you get her flowers? He goes, I have to get her flowers? I'm like, yes, you get her flowers, dude. What the hell? And then like the next thing was like, we have an overnight date. I'm like, all right, gross.
Yeah.
Gross.
Too much.
But congratulations. And then like he's like, okay, what do I say? Blah blah blah. And then the next thing I call, he's like, I'm at the mall. I hate the mall. I'm like, you with mom? He's like, yes. I'm like, good job, daddy. And then like so they, you know, they're finally back together. And then I talked to my stepmom, and then it's just like this really funny like. She's like 15 years younger than him, and she's white. So she wants like the lovey-dovey in the dates. My dad has no idea how to do that. Like this is the first woman where he's like, I love her and I'll do this for her, you know?
And he must be good in bed because like if she's not getting that and she still wants to be with him.
Yeah.
You hear that, Gina? Your dad must be good in
He's
bed.
a pimp.
Your dad laid it down.
Got that
Like,
good
pipe.
So my stepmom,
Good dick.
my stepmom told me, funny story. My stepmom told me, she was like, you know, we had to get your aunt to do our taxes for a while for the business, but we had to stop, and I'm doing it now. I'm like, why? She goes, because it was really interesting explaining some write-offs. I'm like, what do you mean? She goes, she called your aunt called one day and asked, what is this charge from adamandeve.com?
Oh,
And I
damn.
went and I projectile vomited. And I was like, you don't need to tell me these things.
He's laying it
He
on.
goes, for those of you who don't know, Adam and Eve is a
Sex toy. Non-sponsored,
Sex
canceled,
toy.
not canceled.
yeah, but it's a sex.
Dude, Gina, you said something really, really interesting there, though, about how after the breakup, like your dad didn't know how to feed himself, didn't know how to make his own
feed
coffee. So, ladies, don't forget, pack his lunch every day.
Make him like completely useless.
Make him
And
completely
infantilize
dependent on
him.
you.
You know what the funny thing is, though? The thing is, and this is funny, my stepmom told me, she's like, God, you are so your fucking dad. Because even though I didn't grow up with him, for some reason, we ended up exactly the same.
Yeah.
Same.
Yeah.
Yep.
So, you know what he said to me? When they broke up, he was like, you know, the thing is, I'm not afraid that I'll lose her forever. Like, she won't come back. I'm afraid that I won't need her anymore. And I'm fine with that. You know what I mean? Like, I don't want to not want someone anymore. You like get used to not having her around because that's how I am. I was like, okay. All right, that's a little bit opposite of what I thought it would be, but okay. So he wasn't afraid of, oh, she won't love me more. It's just, I'm afraid of going back to my old ways and not needing anyone anymore.
Aww.
Yeah.
Dude, we should have, you know what? We should have, like, for a guest on this episode, we should
Bring
have
our
dads? No. We should have,
She goes, no, hell no, I don't want my
for,
dad.
like, an alternative perspective, we should have had somebody on that was a planned child because it appears
True.
the only thing that all of us have in common.
That's so true.
Guys,
We can have Taika on. He was
Planned
planned.
children don't go into the entertainment industry.
Yeah.
They're doctors, they're lawyers.
yeah, let's
that's
we have a different way to interview a planned child. But guys,
I could bring Isaac.
Oh, true.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, you did want him.
Yeah, I wanted.
As a teenager.
I was 17 and I was like, yeah, let's have a baby.
Oh, my God. Well, we need to wait till Isaac's a little
Isaac's
older.
pretty sure. Oh yeah, we'll interview Isaac on being a planned child.
So what's it like being planned?
I want to talk to somebody that their parents at like in their early 30s were like, let's have a baby together. We have a house already. We both have our career stable.
Right.
Like, how did they turn? Any of y'all plan children?
Yeah.
They all nod. See, they're not in front of the camera.
Okay, we're gonna get there.
You need issues to be on this side of the
That's
camera.
true.
Yeah. Like, how was that? What was it like having both parents in the picture? But guys, dude, whenever you're in the middle of that hot, steamy love making, wrap that bitch up because you might hatch one of us, and then you got to deal with this shit for the rest of your life.
And go into entertainment and shit. And I have like personality issues.
Talk all about you on camera.
Yeah,
to
you
millions
see your
of people.
kids Instagram, and it looks like they're having the best time, but they're calling you like, "Can you buy me a pizza?"
Damn.
True. Is that the one thing we all have in common that we're like not really planned?
Yeah, my brother
true.
was planned. I could call him. He's
Oh,
a
yeah.
plumber now.
Oh,
They make good money.
He has a regular job. He has a kid.
Oh, Casey was planned.
Yeah.
Yeah.
yeah. Well, we had something to prove.
Yeah, exactly. I think planned children are. We were like, we're getting to this age. I don't give a shit.
Actually, somebody needs to do that. They need to have a controlled experiment. Three different children. One that's completely planned. One where one of the parents leaves, and then one that's just like a total accident from a one night stand. Let me know how that turns out. I'm so curious.
I think planned children are boring. Sorry, just had to say it.
So boring.
They're so stable.
So basic.
I know a planned one. He's like he has like a great career, and it's like his parents all have
Fuck
like
that guy.
Yeah,
He's so
right?
boring.
They take like Christmas photos.
They like
every
do their
year.
taxes.
Yeah,
and,
right.
like have
They do their
insurance and shit.
They never got arrested. Fucking whack.
Whatever.
They have secure relationships.
Right?
Hug your daddies. Hug your mommies. Let us know in the comments which dad are you.
In the commies.
Are you? Let us know in the comments.
I love you, Dad. If you're watching, you're probably gonna watch
I
this
love
'cause
you
Mom's
too,
gonna
Dad.
Make you watch it. Yeah.
Love you, Papa. We get to all shout out a message to our dads this week. All right, Gina, you start.
All at the same time. 1, 2, 3.
I love you.
Oh, she wanted to do one by one.
No, that would have been my message. I have nothing to
Zero.
say.
Her message was silence.
Subscribe,
Complete silence.
like, all that shit. Please. We'll see you next time. Bye.
guys.
Oh, and also share this with your friends. Share it. I've seen so many people on Twitter. They'll be like, "Oh, what's a good podcast to listen to?" And some of you guys go in and you respond to them. We hit you
Yes,
back on
thank
the
you.
Big Mood account. Thank you. Share it.
Buddies, you can link in the description.
Oh, yeah. Check our
right.
merch.
We
Very
got
limited time.
our first merch.
There's a really hot
First
girl.
time.
There's a really hot girl that took a picture of herself half naked watching Big Mood, and it's. I
I
like that.
saw that one.
Yeah,
Wow.
it was very nice. Shout out
sexy.
to Zena.
The warrior princess.
Yeah, right. Yeah.
All right.
Love you guys.
Bye.
Bye.